Greetings. We continue today in our study of the opening of the seventh seal. The book of Leviticus in the Old Testament, in the book of Hebrews in the New Testament, affirm the commandment. Coals were to be taken from off of the brazen altar in the courtyard. They were to be put into a censer. Then incense was to be added to it, which was then offered upon the altar of incense before the veil within the sanctuary of the holy place. This commandment was to be a shadow of the real thing, which as we see is now occurring in heaven. Verse 4 continues, "And the smoke of the incenses, it went up with the prayers of the sanctified ones out of the hand of the messenger before the God." Now the altar of incense and what is offered upon it is plainly stated to be the prayers of the sanctified ones. That these prayers include what is called imprecatory prayers can be seen in connection with the prayer in verse 4 and the judgment which issues forth from them in verse 5. The prayer from Revelation 6:10 appears to be becoming answered in the actions of Revelation chapter 8, verse 5. Revelation 6:10 says, "And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?" And Revelation 5 answers, "And the messenger he received the incense censer, and he filled him, that is the censer, out of fire of the altar, and he threw it unto the earth. And it, that which was thrown, became voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake." Verse 6 continues, "And the seven messengers, the ones having the seven trumpets, they prepared themselves in order that they may blow the trumpets." Now these signs, the voices, the thunderings, the lightnings, and the earthquakes have long been associated by men with the presence of God. Israel asked God not to speak audibly unto them anymore with these accompanying signs because those signs caused great fear in them. In Exodus chapter 19, verse 16, it says, "It came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the nether, the bottom part of the mount. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Lord descended upon it in fire, and the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice. And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai, on the top of the mount, and the Lord called Moses up to the top of the mount, and Moses went up." In Exodus chapter 20 and verse 18, "And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die." The question is asked in Hebrews chapter 2, verse 3, "How shall we escape if we neglect so great salvation?" The salvation of God brought through the gospel has been preached by Christ, by his apostles, and by their converts down through some 20 centuries now. When the saved of the church age are raptured, there will be Jewish evangelists who will continue to preach the gospel. There is coming a day when all those who neglect to hear, who refuse to believe, and disdain to receive God's gift of eternal life through Jesus Christ, as has been declared in that gospel, will experience God's judgment. There are two distinct trumpet styles. the silver trumpets of the Old Testament, and the traditional shofar or ram's horn. Which style will the 7 trumpets of Revelation be? Well, all will be revealed in God's time. The function is more important than the style of the horn which will be used. What is important is that we're ready for the signal of the trumpets at the rapture, therefore avoiding the hearing of the sounding of these other 7 trumpets, which will sound upon the inhabitants of the earth. So I challenge you to take no chance, but make your preparations today, right now, if you've not already done so, to meet the Lord in the air.